Hello everyone, welcome back to another weekly review. So before I get into my performance over the last week, I just want to talk about the current geopolitical situation. And once again, I did a review on Saturday, and I'm re-recording it because just so much new information has come to light. I'm literally sitting down Saturday looking at the news and being like, oh, it really sounds like they're coming to an agreement. Iran has agreed to reopen the strait. The United States is lifting its blockade. Their Trump is communicating he's seeing progress on the talks. It doesn't seem like there's lots of missiles being fired. There's still troops that are being deployed, but that's also because in case the talks don't go well, the United States wants to look like they're actually serious. So it puts pressure on the talks actually, going underway and Iran cooperating. But that aside, um, this week in the current news, it seems as like there were there were ships that were fired upon from Iran, and the United States has put its blockade back. They're not. I don't know if they're completely closing it, but Iran is essentially just back to war, and there's rumors that the United States might go back to now try and hit their energy infrastructure. That's back on the table. So a lot of back and forth, and I didn't actually look at what happened this morning, but I'm just curious. I'm gonna look at what's happening. Reigniting as Trump renews threats, Tehran says no to plan to attend peace talks. So I don't. I want to I always just look at the news and take it with a grain of salt, just as the same as I take what Trump and Iran say with a grain of salt. Because if they're really in a war, they're also using information as a weapon, and so propaganda and basically a lot of lies about each other can be used on both sides to manipulate the truth and gain an edge, or support. But so far as how the economy is reacting, you see, I don't think we have um, much to worry about in terms of what the economic indicators are showing, like the credit spreads. This is I don't know what kind of junk bonds are at the other end of this, but this is the difference between Treasury yields, U.S. high yield index, option adjusted spreads. So probably corporate yields and corporate bonds or whatever the yields are on those. Um, Not too sure. I know, and I think this one is corporate. Or this is triple C bonds. This one's corporate. Sorry. Um, but the usually in times of stress, the credit spreads tend to be a lot higher than where they are now. So I mean, this is just a small. The market at least are saying it hasn't gotten to anything. Yes, there was some short term pricing, insurance costs went up. People a little bit of fear, sure, but it's nothing like the tariffs were, and it's nothing like Ukraine was in 2022. This is a whole lot of volatility, or COVID. So you know this is a 2008 crisis. Obviously, even 2011 caused more. This is nothing. I don't know what's the also bond volatility index. This is usually the first thing to go off, and it's not exploded. On the opening today. I guess we'll see at the close of Monday, today, where it's gonna close, because this is only Friday's close, and the news came in on Saturday. So all these credit spreads, I might be saying what I'm saying right now, and then at 1800 tonight, or at the close, sorry, at 5 p.m. tonight, uh, they just they could open up a lot higher and or close a lot higher, and because this is only the line chart, so it's only working off the close. This Thursday's close. It's not showing Friday because today hasn't closed yet. Anyways, as far as the treasury yields though, again, this is today. We're not doing anything crazy. Um, and so yeah, I don't know. The spreads were not widening, so I don't know that the market is necessarily worried about whatever's happening. it seems like it's just gonna roll over, and markets have gotten things under control. But I'm no expert. So, anyways, let me get into my performance. Honestly, this was a better week than some of the weeks I've had. I had some rough weeks. My performance this week was not the greatest, and I think it's a lot due to my sleep. So I've been trying to work on my sleep schedule and getting better sleep, and more like a consistent routine in the morning. But I did not trade Monday and Tuesday, which would have both had losing days. What's interesting this week is when I went on Forex Factory, right? You see, there's no high impact news on Monday, but for some reason, TradingView was showing high impact news. Existing home sales. Now, sometimes existing home sales is high impact, and sometimes it's not. Um, it's hard to measure though, oftentimes, because 930 also has a huge injection of liquidity, and sometimes the markets are moving because the market's just open. And so when 10 o'clock news comes out, unless there's an immediate impact, it's hard to measure like what the impact, how much impact it already has. But considering how 930 moved pretty aggressively ahead of the news, and it's like yellow folder news, I don't think it created much difference in what prices. There's not much intervention or anything like that in what was currently happening. But I did have like a setup. I just didn't take it because I felt uncomfortable with how the day looked. I mean, we opened much lower, and it's often like this on Mondays when we have a huge opening. We just kind of go in and fill this entire gap. So we were already above 8:30 open. We were already above midnight, and my rules would say look for shorts, and I just didn't feel comfortable shorting after a huge trend like this on a Monday. Okay, so yeah, and anyways, wasn't too sure about high impact news either. But Tuesday had high impact news, and Tuesday had a losing day. And again, I wasn't comfortable with how Tuesday was looking. And I remember, I think Trump was like announcing something Tuesday evening, or I'm not sure if it was this week, but there was a lot of like uncertainty with the Middle East in the media. However, it seemed like things like a few more people were saying this is gonna blow over. So I think this was just the process of just liquidity just being injected back into the markets at such a scale where people that are participating don't care about being slipped or paying more for their orders. Like if you think of what I look for is I look for reversals before it just goes. Let's say it's going up before I go and sell and bring it lower. I look for it to initially go in my direction, then fake out, and then I try and capture the move. So I always look for that sweep, right? As like all my setups have this little sweep I mark out with the dotted lines. So that initial price swing is because the logic is if you're a big money mover, you move the markets like with scale, you don't want to get your order filled here, 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 here. You'd rather get it filled all at average price, which is within that kind of sideways action. So you go like you get filled here, 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 which causes the initial move, and then algorithms will bring it above, so it'll fill here, here, a large chunk here, and then some more large chunks at the kind of extremes of that on the way down. So you have an average price instead of having it stretched out much more over the actual move. And then that just basically increases profits and efficiency of the markets, allows more buying and selling to be made at specific price points where orders would lie. And where those orders lie is psychologically highs and lows, where the market turns, right? So I always look at mark out, these black lines, sell side, buy side liquidity, right? This is just like old highs, turning points. Psychologically, people are gonna make decisions at those levels. But anyways, because sometimes you just throw it out the window. We just want to get in so quickly because oh my god, everything's gonna be okay. The war's over. Let's get back in. Thus, the Nasdaq having this insane move higher. I've never actually witnessed a move this aggressive like this. I don't think I've ever seen it as aggressive like this, where it's been going down. It's been chopping around for so long, and just out of nowhere, boom! Like this is pretty crazy. I don't think anybody expected us to be back at all-time highs within a week. But I mean, maybe some people did. I don't know. You're a genius if you did. But you know, for these reasons, I just felt very uncomfortable with how we were trading and how fast we were going up. So I decided to stay out for the first 2 days. And there were two losses. You know, then Wednesday came, and this is part of the mistake that I did on Monday and Tuesday is that I ignored my model's rules, and I instead focused on a bias. Now, I don't think I was entirely wrong because I was aware of what was happening fundamentally. Um, and so I was like a little skeptical about trading. Like, I don't know about this, the way it looks, the way it's been going up. Like, it feels like it's just going to continue going in that direction. But Wednesday looked a little different. Wednesday looked like it had started to kind of slow down, and we could see a pullback. And I was honestly expecting pullback here, which I think is very doable. So I had the I think I had probabilities on my side. It's just that my model framework was there. We had that sweep of that run. The only thing is we didn't have high impact news on Wednesday that would have triggered a lot of volatility, like we did on Monday and Tuesday, and we didn't have a new week or new day opening gap. So one of the things I always look for is a new week or new day opening gap to line up with my sweep. We didn't actually have that on Wednesday, so I took a trade that was basically lower quality. I shouldn't have taken that trade, and I only took that trade because Monday and Tuesday I was uncomfortable with how the overnight Asia session and London session and pre-market looked. I was very uncomfortable with how it looked, so I decided not to trade. And Wednesday I was comfortable with it. I was excited to trade. Maybe a little bit of emotion was involved, and I made a decision to trade when my rules said it's lower probability and you should not trade. And to show you like how do I know it's lower probability, it's through the data I collected in the last 4 years. You know, if I were to add the scenario that I just mentioned, high impact news would be checked. We'll make this an advanced filter. We'll add a rule and we'll make it or the scenario, a new week opening gap, new day opening gap. Right? The average trade pays me 2 times what I risk, and it's a positive win rate. So, if I were to, get rid of that and just take any trade, or actually make it is not checked and does not contain that, it's still positive 1.72, no, sorry, and does not contain that. 1.24, 39, 67, a very much lower win rate. So a lot, a lot less profits to be made. And I mean, this is basically uh, not something that will lose. So I'm not saying like I should not take this because it's a losing model. Without those filters, it could still win. I just think that I shouldn't have risked the same amount as I've been risking. And I didn't on all the trades. So I risked less than 400, and the most I can risk is 600. That's the most I'll risk. So I haven't even done that because I'm still, not in a comfortable place where I'm willing to risk that much yet. But the second trade I risked a little less. I cut it early, to be honest. So I just was uncomfortable with how it was just the same trade. I shorted here. Here I have the picture. I shorted the first one here, then had a re-entry, shorted up here. It is what it is. But anyways, what I was really disappointed with, which happened, after the fact, I realized when I was looking at the charts Saturday evening, was Thursday. And I had a live stream Thursday. I need to rewatch a live stream to see exactly how I missed it. But I don't remember at all seeing. Let me go back to the main. I don't remember at all seeing a fair value gap on Thursday. So there was actually a winning setup. It was a really nice setup. Let's go on replay mode. Right. First of all, the day looked pretty good. We were making higher highs. We're elastic. We're moving from higher to lower. We're consolidating, manipulating. 8:30 news didn't have an immediate reaction. There was unemployment claims, And usually, right, on Forex Factory, unemployment claims comes out as high impact, but this week uh, it was not high impact. And Thursdays are some of my best days because there's always unemployment claims. So I missed it. I seen it at the beginning of the week. There was unemployment claims. I didn't write it down anywhere or record it like I used to. Sometimes I would record these shorts planning my week, and I should probably get back to that. But I completely woke up on Thursday, saw that there was no news, and just decided. I'm pretty sure I need to rewatch the stream to see exactly what happened. But one, I wasn't fully interested in trading. I did see this new week opening gap, and when we had a sweep like this, I said, this does look nice, but this sweep is part of a bigger consolidation, so I would wait for another quick run. And we had that, except we were very violent on the downside. It seemed like it happened too quickly. Like this was just one candle, and then immediately we just dropped beneath it, and it's like, I wasn't too sure about how the sweep looked, and I did go down to the 1 minute, but I saw that there was no fair value gap anyway, but there was a very small one. So it doesn't look like there was one, but if you zoom in, there was a tiny, tiny gap. Now, honestly, I'm not even mad that I missed it, because these types of trades, I've skipped these trades before intentionally, where the fair value gap is super, super small. I do remember one thing I said is if we get above this one, then I would be bullish. So saying like I would long like this, but this is way too big of a stop, and I wouldn't have hit a 4 hour with that. So I just don't think I saw that there was a gap, and I'm gonna rewatch the stream again. I have it uploaded, so anybody can go and see that if interested. But kind of sucks because this was 4R, and it would have felt good to end another week positive throughout this whole mess of ugly price action with the whole Trump Iran scenarios. But overall, I think I've been doing a good job managing my emotions and my risk. I just hope that I can continue doing the same this week. And for everybody that's watched, thank you for your time, and I just want to wish you good luck and happy trading.